Magandang umaga at magandang gabi sa mga panig ng mundo tayo ngayon. Welcome sa second live webinar ng CareerX Pilot Program. Sa araw na ito, tatalakayin natin ang isa sa mga requirement ng pagiging guro. Tulad ng mga doktor at lawyers, meron ding board exam para sa mga teachers. Ito ay tinatawag na licensure exam for teachers, na madalas din tawagin na LET. Ang objective ng webinar sa araw na ito ay para marinig natin ang experience at kwento ng ating mga coaches noong nag-prepare at nag-exam sila para sa LET. Before tayo mag-start, magpapakilala muna kami ng mga coaches. Ako nga pala si Carlo at parte ako ng grupo ng CareerX. Ako po ang magiging moderator ninyo sa araw na ito. Kung may mga katanungan kayo na nais nyo itanong sa ating mga coaches, wag mag-atubiling mag-comment sa comment box. Ngayon, magpapakilala na ang mga coaches. Coach Yen, do you want to start?
Okay. Coach Yen?
I'm going to start. Okay. Hi, I'm Jem. I'm Coach Jeff. Currently teaching in a public school. So, I hope na ma-inspire kayo sa mga stories namin about LET and how we prepare for it. And that's all.
Coach Grace?
Okay. Good evening po, everyone. So, I am Coach Grace, currently working at Bristol Integrated School as a grade 2 advisor. Thank you.
And last but not the least, Coach Kurt.
Isang mapagpalang gabi sa lahat. Ako si Coach Kurt. I'm one of the expert coaches in CareerX and I'm currently working as an international school teacher sa International School Manila. And I'm also a former lecturer sa mga iba't ibang review centers for licensure exam for teachers.
Oh, ngayon kilala na natin ang bawat isa. Tara na. For sa English, let's go.
Let's go.
Okay. Magsisimula na po tayo. Coach Kurt, umpisahan na natin ang talakayan. Mag-start tayo sa overview ng LET. Paki-describe naman po sa amin, Coach Kurt, ang LET.
Okay, the licensure exam for teachers is actually one of the most, bias ako, most difficult licensure exam sa ating bansa dahil sa lawak din ng coverage niya, no? So, there are two types of exams that a future teacher could take. If you're majoring sa elementary ed, of course, you will be taking up LET for elementary teachers. And if you took secondary ed, you'll be taking up LET for secondary teachers. However, magkaiba yung content nito, yung mga composition per level, no? Pag sa elementary level, ang iti-take mo, 2 subjects lang, which is Prof Ed, Gen Ed, and the percentage also differs. So, for example, yung Gen Ed ng elementary ed, 40%, and Prof Ed is 60%. And then the other way around naman, sa secondary ed naman, may nadagdag specialization. Dito pumapasok yung mga majorship. Kaya sa totoo lang, for you to be a top-notcher sa LET ng secondary ed, it's really unpredictable kasi nga sa lawak din ng scope ng majorship exam. So yung percentage naman nito ay 40-40-20, 40 Gen Ed, 40 Prof Ed, and 20% sa specialization. And hindi rin it's really unpredictable kasi may mga majors talaga na sobrang lawak ng sakop niya. Case in point, English, Filipino, MAPE, TLE Computer. Ito yung mga majors na may mga nagta-top notch but for the past years, very rare. So kapag ang biruan namin ng mga fellow coaches namin or mga lecturers, kapag yung mga nag-top ay galing sa mga majors na to, talagang mahusay or matalino talaga. While for the past years din, may trend din, nakaramihan din ng mga top notch ay galing sa sciences at math. Ito nga, napansin namin, ito yung mga majors na kaunti yung scope o kaya mas definite yung mga sagot. Historically, the LET is called PIBET, no? Iba yung tawag sa kanya in the past. And then over, I think around 80s, correct me if I'm wrong mga fellow coaches, napalitan siya into LET. And yung board din na supervise dito ay talaga ng mga seasoned teachers ang mga kinukuha ng PRC. It's under the Professional Regulatory Commission here in the Philippines. Siguro yun lang yung mga ilang mga patikim. Ano ba yung LET, Coach Carlo?
Salamat, Coach Kurt. Curious lang po ako kasi nasabi niyo na may dalawang types na exams. Meron sa secondary school, meron din sa primary school. Meron po ba mga teachers na nagtitake ng both? Or pag napasa mo na yung isa, automatic na pwede ka na magturo dun sa kabila?
I think definitely depende siya sa course mo, no? Kaya dumadaan sa matinding evaluation ng mga admin and staff ng TRC, yung mga papers namin ng mga teachers for you to be evaluated whether you will be taking up elementary ed and secondary ed. Mas malawak yung sakop ng secondary ed kasi dito din kasali yung mga certificate or unit earners ng EDOC. By the way, you can actually take the LET if you take six subjects of EdUc subjects or equivalent to 18 units, no? Unlike sa elementary ed, very strict sila na elementary education, Bachelor of Elementary Education dapat yung tinapos mo. So yung mga certificate earners, parang rare, hindi pa ako nakakarinig na dun talaga nagpo-fall unless ang certification nila ay for teaching the early grades or elementary talaga. Pero so far, yung mga na-encounter ko, mga na-review ko before, like for example, may mga engineers, may mga media practitioners, kadalasan secondary ed sila napupunta. Plus the fact na nire-realign yung mga subjects mo nung college dun sa posibleng major na kunin mo. For example, yun nga yung example ko na engineer, pinag-take siya under either math or yung maraming subjects niya sa sciences.
Thank you, Coach Kurt. Ngayon naman, tatanungin natin si Coach Grace at si Coach Jem tungkol sa experience nila sa LET. Mag-start tayo kay Coach Grace since kaka-take nila na exam, I think 2 years ago.
Yes, 2018, nag-take po ako ng LET exam, September yun. Okay, so katatapos lang namin graduate noon mga May, and then May, June, July, August, September, LET na. So, after graduation, nag-apply agad kami sa review center, Cool Edge Review Center in Baguio City. So, nag-apply agad ako doon, kami, with my batchmates. So, para dire-diretso nga naman, after graduation, take the LET, and then, kapag nakapasa, work na, ganyan, hanap na ng work. So, yung experience before, or rather during nung review, very light. Gusto kong gawing light lang yung review para sa pag-take ng LET, kayang-kayang i-take yung LET. But like 1 week before, dun na ako like, LET na pala. Okay, so okay. Tsaka lang ako naging like, seryoso sa pag-review. Okay, like this and blah and blah. Yung study habits ko nag-change na. Ayan. So, tsaka ako lang talaga tinake yung mga weaknesses kong subjects, ganun. So, the day before the LET, ayan. The day before the LET, my prayer, yung prayer meeting, ganyan. We can do this, mga words of encouragement, and all the materials or documents should be prepared, ganyan. Okay. Pagkain, check. Mongol, number 2, pencil, check. Scrap paper, check. What else? Pencil, calculator na ganitong unit. May specific kasi na pwede lang gamitin na calculators during LET. Check. So, lahat ng materials, dapat check. Yung outfit, we should wear white colored t-shirt, and then slacks, tama po ba? And then black shoes, closed shoes. Ganito, very formal. Lahat, finalo namin. And nagkaroon kami ng checking sa aming destination or sa testing areas before para, of course, to feel the atmosphere ng pagtitaken mo ng LET sa public school, high school. So, chinek namin, nandun ba yung names namin, and like that. And also, yan. Yun lang naman yung before the LET. Later siguro during. And then after. Thank you po.
Sige po. Coach Jem, ikaw naman po ang mag-share ng iyong experience.
Well, I took the LET noong 2013. Hindi ako nakaabot nun sa September kasi tagal magbigay ng TOR ng UP. So, di ako nakaabot sa September. So I planned for March na lang. March pa noon, March 2030. Tapos, yun, plano ko before is to enroll sa isang review center or at least sa college namin para mag-review. Kaso, hindi pala ako nag-work muna pala noon. Tapos, nangailangan yung isang school ng math teachers. Tinawagan ako and sabi ko, hindi ko po ma-offer yung full-time ko kasi magre-review po ako for let ganyan. So, kinuha nila ako for part-time pero turned out parang na full-time na rin ako kasi math yung tinuturo ko. So, may mga tutorials din after. So, technically, hindi talaga ako nakapag-review. So, nanghiram lang ako ng reviewers sa friends ko na nag-review sa PNU, nag-review sa UP. Tapos, well, the usual thing, nakatambay lang siya. So, hindi ko din siya nabasa at all. Then, yun nga, nung time na, sabi ko hindi, I need to take the let by hook or by crook. So, bahala na, ganyan. Kasi ang goal ko nun is, yun nga, same lang with Coach Grace. After graduation, let na sana kagad para tapos na, ganun. So, wala na masyadong isipin. Work na lang afterwards, ganyan. So, yun nga. So, I failed this taking September kasi hindi nakakaabot yung requirements. Pinilit ko yung March. Then, nung hindi ako nagpaalam, I mean, hindi ako nagsabi sa mga friends ko and sa mga churchmates ko na magtitake ako ng let. Kasi, nandun yung fear na baka bumagsak, di ba? Ang taas na expectations tapos talaga pagsak ka parang gano'n. So hindi ko yung sinabi. So ang sinabihan ko lang yung boss ko that time. Well, actually hindi ko nga rin sinabi sa kanya na magpa-file na ako for let. Nagpaalam lang ako na mag-early out ako. Then nalaman lang nila na mag-file ako ng let nung sinabi ko na magle-let po ako sa Sunday yun, di ba? Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. Sabi, maglilet po ako Sunday. Friday ako nagpaalam na maglilet po ako ng Sunday, ganyan. Tapos, talaga, maglilet ka, baka di namin alam, ganyan. So, ayun na, nung Friday na yon yung co-teacher ko, nakakatuwa, kasi sabi niya, anong kailangan mo? Sabi ko, white shirt kami, required na white shirt, white polo shirt, ganyan. Tapos sabi niya, sige, punta tayo SM, and she bought me a shirt talaga. Pampaswerte daw. Ito nga yun eh. Pakita ko sa inyo. Ito pa rin yung shirt. Di ba?
Nice.
Hindi na siya kasya sa akin kasi maliit na. Pero, tinatabi ko siya for remembrance na parang once in my life, naging part siya ng let journey ko. And yun nga, hinanap ko din yung test center. Nasa Espanya yung test center ko. So, knowing na traffic papunta doon, and ang aga aga ng call time, 7, like gano'n. So, kailangan maaga. So, umalis ako ng mga 4 a.m. sa amin. Nakarating ako dun 6 na. So, medyo, naantok pa. So, yun yung before. Yun yung before the let.
Cool. Bago tayo pumunta kay Coach Kurt, tingin ko na observe ko lang na pinag-usapan natin yung September tsaka March. Totoo pa rin po ba na dalawa yung exams for let, dalawang versions? Tapos pipili lang po kayo ng isa doon to take. Tama po ba?
Well, dalawa yung schedule niya per year. Isang September, isang March. I don't know kung yun pa rin yung date, yung months ng let this time.
No update.
No updates. So parang nagbago sila for academic shift calendar ng mga schools. So parang hindi na siya March and September, I think.
I see. Coach Kurt, nakita ko nag-unmute ka. May details ka ba about this?
I think because of the pandemic din, no, ang laki rin ng epekto nito sa mga licensure exam kasi before, you're taking it face-to-face din siya as a crowd. I remember my let was in Philippine Normal University and we are inside an auditorium. So, ganun kalaki. So, para siyang, di ba yung mga malakihang mga exam sa Philippines like UPCAT or mga NCAI, mga ganyan. And then, apart from that fact na face-to-face yung tinitake, parang hindi pa na-consider before yung mga online version. But right now, I read recently na kino-consider nila na yung mga licensure exams ay i-convert sa computer-based exams, which is, I believe, kailangan nito ng sobrang okay ako dun sa idea na yun, but it needs to be well thought of because of course, to avoid biases, cheating, and mas paano ba mas mag-work ito lalo na sa iba't ibang context, like whether in a place na may malakas na internet, or yung exam ba ay kailangan nga ba talaga ng internet, baka naman pwedeng offline yung exam. Those are some of the things na naiisip ko lalo na kapag naging online na or computer-based na yung mga licensure exams natin. But I'm excited in that notion. But right now, the last update from PRC is definitely because of the pandemic, LET and the other exams as well for professionals will be canceled for this year.
Sounds good. Salamat po doon, teacher, Coach Kurt. Coach Grace, kanina na nag-share ka ng experience mo sa LET. You're talking about some documents that you were preparing for. Naalala niyo pa po ba yung mga documents na kailangan yung ihanda for the testing day?
Okay, the document would include the transcript of records, GMRC, good moral right conduct, what else? There are a lot talaga. Yun lang yung mga naalala ko, and most especially the 2x2 pictures.
Sure.
Yes. Yun po yung manaalala kong documents, TOR, and then yung forms from the PRC para mag-take ka ng LET, yung application form.
I think I agree with Teacher Grace online yung application ngayon sa pag-take ng LET. So, para siyang domino effect. So, kapag nakuha mo na yung preliminary documents, sunod-sunod na siya pag tumakbo na yung paper mo. Ang siguro ang masasabi ko, pinaka-crucial doon is the NOA, yung, ano man tawag doon, notice of
Sub-admission.
admission na pwede kang mag-take ng LET. Yeah. So, actually, I have a backstory there. It's really, hindi ko makakalimutan yon kasi kaya napakahalaga na chine-check natin yung documents natin. Because originally in college, I was taking up secondary ed, major in SPED. So, in UP, they offer secondary ed, major in SPED, and some schools, so very rare yung majorship na SPED. At wala pang majorship na SPED sa LET. So, I have to take my minor. So, supposedly, English yon no? But, I don't want to blame naman kasi tapos na rin yung pagkuha ko ng LET and nakapasa naman na ako. Hindi ko chinek yung NOA ko kasi confident ako na okay na. And then, upon checking by my review center, sila yung nagsabi na, I think you're not categorized under English. Sabi ko po, yun po yung nakalagay sa papers ko po sa diploma ko. I took Filipino as my majorship. So, ito, not to brag, but it caused me so much anxiety and excitement as well. Kasi parang, uy, bago. Pero sabi ko, it's really a risky move to take a new major kung yung inaral mo ng ilang taon, tapos biglang hindi yun yung major mo. So I really reviewed a lot in the Filipino subject for 4 months. Kasi parang, di ba, Coach Jem and Coach Grace, correct me if I'm wrong, mag-file ka 4 months, parang 4 to 5 months before your exam eh. So, imbis like, I'm focusing on Prof Ed and Gen Ed only, nandun yung pressure na shocks. Parang, hindi ito yung inaral ko for the past 4 years. Although, I must say that Filipino and English are not too far from each other kasi yung ibang pedagogical aspects naman, may pagkakapareho. Like, how do you teach Filipino and how do you teach English in terms of, let's say, grammar. May mga ibang teorya na kahit pa paano, swak sila sa isa't isa. But, iba lang talaga yung nagkinos na parang an anxiety on my part. But, like what they said, parang, failing to prepare is preparing to fail. So, I took the 4 months and took the challenge na parang, sige, nato na yung papel kayo. Parang, when I reported it to PRC, they were giving me an option. Pwede ka namang mag-contest, but no guarantee kasi yung takbo daw ng papers during that time, either like a month before the exam proper, or parang ganun yung period. So parang hala, sobrang mas uncertain noon na kung ma-approve ba ako sa English or ma-approve ba ako sa Filipino. And then I only have 1 month to review. So I took the challenge. Sige, I'll take the Filipino subject na lang.
Well, ano lang, share ko lang din. Kasi may friends din ako na parang health major, di ba? Tapos biglang sa science sila nila guys, parang, nakagulat. So, may mga ganong ano. I think may kulang dun sa pag-align ng majorship kasi para automatic na kapag hindi ka eduk major tapos nag-take ka lang ng eduk o nag-take ka ng eduk subjects, sa secondary ka malalagay, di ba, Coach Kurt? Tapos i-align nila, PRC ang mag-a-align sa'yo kung saan ka pwedeng mag-major. So nagkulat sila, health major, tapos sila magpunta sa biology or sa science. So may mga ganong cases talaga.
Agree. Kasi parang may mga na-handle ako unit earners, and I met colleagues before na unit earners sila ng eduk. It's really unpredictable. Like, apart from the exam itself, one of the most excruciating part is waiting for your papers in line. Like, hindi mo alam ano yung mapiprint sa NOAA mo. I have friends na psych yung background nila. So, they were expecting at least ang pinakamalapit na major ay values ed. But apparently, ang mga psych ngayon ay napafall na sila under SOCSI. So, imagine you're a psych major and or a psych graduate like BS Psych or AB Psych, and then you will study like history, geography, kasi yun yung sakop ng exam mo, SOCSI. And I'm glad naman nakapasa sila. Yung iba rin ay naging top-notchers na rin.
Well, thank you sa sharing niyo, Coach Jem, Coach Kurt. Balik naman po tayo sa preparation ulit sa LET. Coach Grace, na-share niyo kanina na nag-enroll kayo sa review center. Nung nag-prepare po kayo, ano po yung kino-consider nyo between mag-review center ba ako or mag-personal review ako? And you can share your experience with that decision.
Okay, so during the review, of course, because it will be my first taking the exam, licensure board examination yon. So, ang thinking namin nun, we need extra help. And that help would be the review center. And aside from that, of course, yung self-review. Okay? So, during that time, four meetings kasi kami in a week. So, within those 4 days, magmi-meet kami sa review center and magrarasyo, mag-a-answer ng questionnaires. So, sa self ko naman, nag-time management and also the study skills or study habits, medyo ni-review ko yung self-reflection. Ni-review ko yung sarili ko, okay, what time would suits me best na magre-review for these questions? What are my strengths and weaknesses? Which subjects should I focus on? So during the review din kasi, nag-answer kami ng mga questions. Oh, mas mababa yung score ko sa ganitong subjects. Okay, take note. Kailangan everyday magre-reflect ka which ones yung nahihirapan ka, which ones yung it's okay to just literally review mo lang, just refresh. Refresh lang talaga lahat ng concepts na naaral mo nung college and may bagong concepts na papasok from the review center and like that. And what else? So aside from the review, with the aid of the review center, yung more on self-reflection, your study habits, time schedule, you manage all of these, and also with the help of others, your peers, like yung study group namin, we will like schedule our meeting. Okay, let's go to this cafe. Tara, mag-review tayo. And then all of us, we are holding these questionnaires. May magbibigay ng question. Oh, ano yung like this and a blah. And then one person will answer. Actually, it's more ang review dapat hindi siya naging debate, but sa amin hindi kasi letter A yung tamang sagot kasi sabi ni sir, 'di ba? based from his lecture noon. Hindi kasi 'di ba nung college na pag-aralan namin, so nagkakaroon ng misalignment yung pag-aralan mo ng college and then yung na-review sa review center. So yung prior knowledge mo about this concept, nagkakaroon ng misalignment. So ano pa talaga yung susundin? Yung tamang sagot ni Let. So actually one of the reminders that they mentioned was never question the questionnaire. Kasi hindi naman siya makikipag-debate sa'yo na ah, hindi naman siya makikipag-debate. But this is the answer. The answer should be letter B. Pero yung sa computerized, yung answer doon is letter A. So, mas follow mo actually yung answer. So, may mga misalignments and like that. But mostly for my preparation would be taking all the chances that I have para this is board exam. You should take take anything na meron resources, people, review centers, ganyan. So that's how I prepared for the that exam because when I took it, I was not really like spiritually, emotionally, and mentally prepared. So it's a very nerve wracking. So I guess that's my my preparation for the let when I'm in last September 2018. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach Grace. Shoutout nga pala dun sa nagtanong ng question kay Joel. Repeat ko lang ulit yung tanong para sa susunod na coaches. Ang tanong po ni Joel ay para po sa opinion ninyo, saan po mas maganda mag-review? Sa mga review center or self-review? Coach Jem, do you have an input on this?
Well, mine is a decision made by situation. Kasi if I'm going to choose, mas gusto ko mag-review center kasi syempre 'di ba? Once lang naman yung let. So 'di ba, your goal is to top it or at least make it to the top, 'di ba? Parang gano'n. Pero hindi yun naging goal. Parang ang nangyari lang sa akin before is kailangan makapag-let na ako and one take lang para maging proud pa rin naman sila ma'am. So, ang nangyari sa akin nga, yun nga, nag-work ako, or actually hindi ako hindi ako naghanap ng work. Pinag-work ako dun sa isang school kasi nangailangan sila ng math teacher. So I took the opportunity na makapag-work. Then sabi ko, sa hapon din ako magre-review or maghahanap ako ng review center na swak na si schedule. Tapos, yun nga, parang mas naging focus ako sa working and nung by January, I think, or basta yung bago na mag-March, doon ako nag-decide na, okay, sige, I'll take the left na para matapos na rin siya, ganyan. So, ang situation is, wala akong choice kundi mag-self-review for it. So, ang ginawa ko is, nanghiram ako ng reviewers sa mga friends ko na nag-review nga sa PNU, sa UP. And kino-compare ko yung mga reviewers nila kung ano yung mga magiging sagot. Well, another, siguro mas naging nakatulong din sa akin yung training ng mga prof namin sa UP. Kasi yun nga sabi nila, di ba, hindi naman, ang let is not just a year preparation. Parang since you started taking college or you took the education path, dapat dun pala nagpe-prepare ka na. Kasi sobrang dami ng theories, sobrang dami ng pedagogies na kailangang aralin, na kailangan siksik within the review time lang. So, dapat, since you started studying education, inaaral mo na siya. So, naging maganda yung naging foundation ko nun sa naging training ko sa college kasi na-retain sila. Yun ang nakakatuwa. Na-retain sila habang nagre-review ako. So, hindi na ako masyado nag-focus doon. Hindi rin ako masyado nag-focus sa major kasi nga maganda rin yung training namin sa math. So, parang okay na yun. Okay na sa akin yun. So, I think if I'm going to answer the question kung magsa-self-review or magre-review center, you know yourself better kung saan ka mas makakapag-aral. Kasi kapag nag-take ka ng let, dapat ang goal din is mapas mo na siya for one take lang. Hindi yung, okay, I'll take the let, then kung hindi ako pumasa, then there's a second chance naman. Kasi dapat laging ang goal natin is once lang ang pagtitik ng licensure at pumasa na. Yun yung sa tingin ko na na dapat i-goal natin. Then if kaya naman, may goal for top notch, why not, 'di ba? Kung kaya.
Coach Hurt, kayo na po ang mag-share ng experience niyo.
I can relate to both of the coaches a while ago. So I read some articles before and basing it from my experience as well. Not the review center. Ito yung nililiwanag ko. The review center will not determine your ability to pass the exam, but may babalikan ko yung point ni Coach Grace, it's your ability of preparation and review. Whether it's self-review or reviews, you go to a review center. Merong advantages on both sides. But siguro, i-connect ko naman dun sa point ni Coach Jem a while ago that it really depends on your circumstances. Like case in point, ang laki ng ginagawa or nagagawa ng fate or destiny mo no? So I have friends like they're supposed to take this September let, hindi sila nakapag-take kasi late na na-release yung papers. Others are already working. Yung iba kasi iniisip nila na, no, after graduation, mag-let agad para makapagtrabaho sa mga schools or makapag-serve sa public school. But I know some people, they allotted like years of experience first before taking up the let. And some of their philosophies would be, let will not dictate your quality as a teacher, which is yes, but knowing it really depends on your motives and your plans. If you're planning to teach in the public school without let, you cannot enter the public school system. And the other points naman na gusto kong bigyan ng pansin, what if you are really financially challenged, no? During the time. Hindi naman sinasabi natin na forever kasi nga bilog naman ng mundo. You can like maybe now or after like how many months umokay naman yung finances mo. Pwede kang mag-enroll sa review centers. But come to think of it, yes, review centers have a specific cost for their program. At the end of the day, these review centers present curricula and programs that have costs because at the end of the day, review centers are businesses. Yun yung isa sa fact kahit saan ka magpunta sa Pilipinas. At isa pa ring point doon, may kanya-kanya silang bentahe and advantages sa bawat isa. Like, reality is, meron at merong review center, ito personal observation ko lang to in Insider Report, na nakakakuha ng, like, let's say, latest questions from the past let. And, syempre, yung mga let questions naman, for example, like 450 questions yan, hindi mo naman yan gagawin from the scratch. So, PRC for sure, meron silang test question bank na pinupull out lang questions. So, if in terms of review centers, kung matagal ka na sa business, naaral mo na yung pattern. Although, for the past years, wala rin masyadong pattern. Siguro, it's more on the exposure sa tanong. Kung para ka rin nagtitake ng ibang licensure exam. So, the more that you read, the more chances of winning or parang acing that particular question. And tama si Grace. In terms of rationalization, iba't ibang review centers, iba't ibang take din. So, that's, I would say it's a sad reality din. Kasi parang in school, this is what we were taught of. Pero pag nagtitake ka na ng let, parang ang inaaral mo na ay how to pass or top the let based on the qualifications and quantifications of the exam itself. So if you know that this is the real answer or the ideal answer base sa turo or base sa experience mo, at some point you'll get frustrated na bakit parang ito yung sagot? Hindi naman ito yung tamang sagot. Sabi nga ni Grace, at the end of the day, it will just create frustration and anxiety kung patuloy mong i-question yung exam. So that's one of the political side of the exam itself. So may mga points or may mga exam questions that you need to humble yourself and maybe at the end of the day, parang choose your own battles, whether magsistick ba ako sa question na to na sobrang tagal and naapektuhan na yung review time ko, or I would rather, sige, hayaan ko muna ngayon and then I'll research more on other materials and compare their answers. May mga ganun eh. So, bottom line of my statement is, it depends on the FAT, not faith. Well, faith also plays a big role. And also, like, depende rin siya sa exposure mo. So, more materials, just like Coach Jem, sabi niya nanghiram siya ng iba't ibang materials, more chances of encountering questions from the exam. In my case, I had 2 review centers and 3 na hiniraman. Ganon ka-broad yung ginawa kong resources, and depende siya sa diskarte mo. Kasi case in point, like, if you have the resources already, like the questionnaires, the booklets, pero hindi mo nang binubuklat, so nonsense. It really depends on you as a person, gaano ka ka-hungry makapasa, or better makapag-top select. In the beginning, the main question is, what is really your motivation? Why are you taking the LET? Is it for yourself? Is it for your family? Is it about passing, or is it about topping? Or maybe yung iba nga parang nagse-celebrate na sila, yes, I passed the LET, then wala na silang pakialam sa rating nila. But the rest, sobrang hungry nila na nandun yung pressure, I want to top it, I want to top it. Pag di sila nag-top, sobrang lugmok sila, but they pass, di ba? So, it will boil down to the pressure, to the motivation and discipline that you give to yourself for the licensure exam.
Well, thanks for the sharing, Coach Kurt. I think you touched on some of the test-taking strategies, so we'll go to that in a bit. Sagutin lang po muna natin yung isang tanong ng ating explorer. So, tingin ko nasagot na rin siya ni Coach Jem, pero baka may iba pang resources. So, ang tanong is ni Joel Soliveris, saan po kaya pwedeng makakuha ng libreng LET reviewer, lalo na walang pambili ng reviewer? Meron po ba tayong mga diskarte kung saan pa pwede makakuha ng reviewer? I know pwede tayong manghiram sa mga kaibigan natin, pero meron pa po bang resources online or resources offline na pwede natin pagkunan ng reviewers?
I think merong online, may mga free reviewers, pero no guarantees na parang yun yung latest material. Meron naman. If you just want to get the pace or parang the vibe of ano bang lalabas sa questions dito, yeah, perfect yung mga online reviewers na yan for that aspect. But if you're aiming like to get the latest questions, ano yung mga last na lumabas this season, ganun ka-tedious sa pagre-review mo, either manghiram ka or may ginawa rin kami sa labas ng PRC office sa Manila, may mga nagbebenta din ng reviewers. Although it really depends on your motivation nga. So kung ganun ka talaga ka-hungry, like my goal is to top it. So your technique would be gather all the resources na kaya mong i-gather. But it doesn't mean na pag wala kang pang-review or pang-review center or pambili ng resources, hindi ka na pwedeng mag-top, hindi ka na makakapasa. Like what I've said kanina, taking the LET is like the product of all the years you've learning. Case in point, in the subject of Gen Ed, these topics are actually topics in elementary up to high school. So it will reflect as well your seriousness in your study. Like, sineryoso ko ba talaga yung elementary and high school ko? Or parang, ay, nakalimutan ko na yung topic na to. So it tells something about yourself kung gaano ka ka-dedicated before. May mga recurring items na I'm sure nandito yan sa long-term memory natin. We just need to activate it again and recap these topics, no? And at the same time, hindi factor ang kahirapan or kawalang resource sa yun nga sinasabi ko sa pagkapasa sa LET, because some of the items are practical. Malaking tulong din siguro na yung magkaroon ng work experience bago ka mag-LET. Case in point sa akin, nag-work na ako noon, and na-verify mo kasi yung ibang items. Kahit sabihin mo hindi mo siya na-encounter sa reviews mo or sa materials mo, pero you can rationalize during the exam itself na parang, oy, nangyari ito sa klase ko, ito yung ginawa ko. So, ang laking tulong nun that you are actually applying the practical side, not only its by the book or by the reviewers? How about you, Coach Grace?
Okay, so for me, the okay, someone is asking about the resources. Kapag walang resources or materials na available, I would opt to ask from the past let takers, get or just ask for the reviewers, kasi there are a lot of available but not really reliable sources online. So PRC also announced that they will not hold or take responsibility for the let questionnaires that are posted online and claiming it as theirs, but rather, yes, just choose resources that are reliable, okay? And also, Kurt, I mean, Coach Kurt, tama nga yung sinabi niyo that some or most actually na questions sa let ay napag-aralan mo na during college days mo na, like theories in education, yung sa professional education, theories in education, yung mga Magna Carta, mga laws, mga ganyan, napag-aralan mo na siya back in college. And kapag facts siya, meaning the concept will not change, it is the same answer, retain that information. Okay, there are other information na nag-change, and then just update that answer in that information. What else? Take note all the facts and all the also the application, especially in professional education, more on application, situational analysis. What else? Educational technology subjects, very umbrella, marami siyang sakop. Just review. That's why tinatawag natin ang pag-take ng let, actually you're just going to review, refresh in your memory lahat ng napag-aralan mo in college, and then retain the old ones that are facts and reliable, and then add in some more, yung mga new ones na talagang kukunin or malalabas sa let exam. So in terms of resources, ask resources from kakilala na nag-take na ng let, like the reviewers, handouts, and like that. So that's it for the resources. Be sure to check the sources itself, the information, yung reliability.
Ito
Thank you.
just a quick one lang, no? Ang dagdag ko lang sinabi rin ni Grace, it all boils down to your ability or abilidad or discarding nga. So let me share my quick story lang. Baka, just to clear out din, baka parang ang yaman naman ni Teacher Kurt, parang ang dami niyang nasabing review center kanina, he was telling 5 or 3, ganon. No, actually, it depends on your lakas ng loob. So, one time, sabi ko kasi parang I realized that I really need some sort of exposure to different subjects and different expertise of the review centers, no? So, I wrote a letter to this review center. Ganun kalakas yung loob ko, and parang parang sige, subok lang kung sasagot siya or hindi. And then I told them that I promise, like ano yung pwede mong ibalik or mabigay dun sa review center kapalit ng access sa materials. So, in the end, I got a scholarship, but not a full scholarship in that program na uupo ako sa class nila. But what they gave me is an online scholarship. So, they gave me access to their materials na ipapadala via email ko. And in return, I served in the review center. And that's the time na, yun nga, nakapag-lecture ako sa mga next batch of test takers. So, what's my point here? At the end of the day, yun nga, number 1, lakas ng loob. Well, hindi nila malalaman yung need mo kung hindi mo kukwento or isusulat sa kanila. Number 2, once they grant you or they help you, learn to pass that culture of paying forward to the next batch. Malay mo, yung natutunan mo sa pagkuha ng let or yung mga materials mo, makakatulong ka pa sa mga future teachers or mga students na nalagay din sa sitwasyon na na-experience mo. And siguro lastly din, yun nga, kung kanina ang point of faith, ngayon naman faith din, no? May mga idiosyncrasies and beliefs tayo na hindi rin maiintindihan yun ng ibang tao. May iba na nagno-novena or kung ano mga rituals na ginagawa prior sa let, naglalagay ng coins sa shoes. Kung makakatulong yan, pampakalma sa'yo, kung makakatulong yan para mapalakas yung loob mo, go. Walang pumipigil sa'yo, wala ring makakaalam yan. Kumbaga, it is also an aid for you to calm before the storm, before the exam. And also, para matulungan ka habang nagtitake ka na, hindi ka lang nag-iisa during the exam.
Maraming salamat, Coach Kurt. Go for it, Coach Jem.
I think di mo ibang colleges nag-offer sila ng free review sa mga graduates nila, di ba? So siguro 'yon, one din 'yon na parang pwedeng magtanong doon sa college mismo kung merong review. Tapos I think ang gagastusin lang ata is yung mga references kung gusto niyo ng copy. And another thing yung diba nag-aaral tayo. So keep your notes. Yung mga lecture notes na diniscuss during your college days. Aralin mo 'yon. It's a good reviewer din para hindi na rin masyado madami na aral mo. Saka magandang kasi 'yon nahimay 'yun ng mga professors. So I think okay siyang reviewer din for sa uncertain things na hindi kaya yung mag-avail ng mahal na references and reviewers.
Ang ganda na sinabi ni Coach Jem, dugdugin ka lang, Carlo, kasi parang factor talaga yung time, no? So imagine, yung inaral mo ng 4 years or 5 years man, sa review centers, they're discussing it in weeks and in months. Let's say 4 months. So ganon kabilis, ganon ka-tedious yung proseso. That's why Grace is also telling us kanina na parang 4 days sila in a week. In my case, every day may pinapasang resource and kailangan mo siyang sagutan at i-rationalize every day. Para ka talagang nagtitake ng ibang board exam, like even bar exam, it really depends on your motivation nga, like yung paglalagay ng Manila paper din sa wall, depende din sa learning style mo. It will work, to be honest. Like, depende yung mga iba kong kilala, index card, yung iba sa coffee shop nag-aaral, yung mga ganong mga bagay. So, it's all about exploring those ideas and learning more about yourself, what works for you and what doesn't work for you.
I think we're back to the test-taking strategies again. So let's go more to that. Isang mabilis lang tungkol sa mga ideas or mga strategies na nag-work sa inyo. Let's start with Coach Grace. I know you shared about your support group, talking in coffee shops, asking questions. Is there more to that?
First of all would be like your study habits. First, identify your weaknesses and strengths and focus on the weaknesses. Which subjects that you need to pay attention to. For example, general mathematics. Then schedule your time, which time suits you best for your review. For example, in my case, I will take my review from 3 p.m. onwards. Ayan, dyan active yung aking brain, like that. Dyan yung study time ko. Dyan pumapasok lahat yung facts and what else. So that would be my study time, 3 to this. And then my way of studying would be reporting or reflecting back to myself. Okay, so these are the ano yung application nito, like that. And then I would wake up early to review the facts that I've learned. So afternoon and then early in the morning, schedule your study time, yung mas best talaga sa inyo, mas mag-work. And also, what else? Aside from that, schedule your study time, which suits best for you. There may be like tips and tricks for you to review, but for me, it's all about your comfortability. And may kanya-kanya kasi tayong study habits eh. Okay, so that's it. What else? So schedule your time. Next would be validate your sources. Okay, kung same questions, do they have the same answers from these sources? And and also yes, validate the or ratio the questions. What else? Oh yeah, I've never experienced myself, but my let co-let takers, my batchmates, they have like written concept notes on their Manila papers and then nakapost sa wall. So it's more it's more like memorization that part kasi concepts yun but it's too many. Again, kapag gumana yun sa inyo, why not go for it? It's not really a prerequisite for you to study na kailangan may Manila paper, kailangan may index card. Kung ano lang talaga yung what suits you best. What else? Study, yes, I need affirmation or confirmation from my study group if what I'm reviewing is correct or not. Kasi review ka nga ng review and then ang na-review mong concept mali. So, baliwala din. Ask validation if what you have reviewed is correct or not. What else? Validation. Also, take a break. That's the most important thing. Take a break. Don't ingest all the concepts or theories, pedagogies inside your head. Take a break. Your pakaramdaman mo yung sarili mo if this would work for you or just I want to study because it is a need like a requirement to study for the let but also there's the inner drive that I really want to study, you know, that inner motivation and rather the motivation that you want to study because you want to learn you want to learn some new concepts again. So check your emotions or feelings when you are going to study if you're happy kasi kapag stress ka and then you're going to review, it's not going to work. It's not going to really retain inside your head. Ang naalala mo lang doon yung stress ako, I forgot this one already. Ayan. So, what else? Some may opt to listening to music when they study. Listening. Also, acting out the concepts or like, because we are different learners, right? We are diverse, like visual, kinesthetic, and like that. So, bottom line would be know yourself more, which works best for you, and study habits, schedule, and focus, prioritize which ones are going to work for you, are going to take note of, and study, be happy when you study. That's it.
Thank you, Coach Grace. Let's go on to the let questions, like sample questions. Kung may natatandaan ko yung mga coaches sa mga parts ng tinake nyo during your time. Para naman may patikim sa ating mga explorers tungkol sa let. Coach Kurt, do you want to start?
I'll pull out my file. Wait lang. Meron akong copy. Wait lang. I'll pull out my file. Kung okay lang, sino muna ibang mauna? Like Coach Jem, baka meron kang naalala? Or Coach Grace? Lalo si Coach Grace, pinaka-fresh yan.
Oo, mas fresh si Coach Grace. Pero usually kasi, if yung mga questions sa LET, they are more on situational talaga eh. Kasi di ba yung mga theories on education, nagko-cross sila sa mga theories eh. So you have to choose which best fit dun sa mga questions. So, siguro ma-share ko yung sa major ko. There are questions in math na pag sinolve mo, hindi mo makikita yung exact answer. So, what you're going to do is to look for the nearest or yung pinakamalapit na sagot dun sa choices. So, may mga ganong instances. So, parang, yun nga, sabi nga ni Coach Grace, do not question the questionnaire. Parang you choose the best answer na lang talaga. So, for the sample questions, I think si Coach Kurt meron, si Coach Grace, mas fresh kasi sa kanya yung mga questions. So, mas okay na ako siya mag-share.
The questions na naaalala ko pa na biglang lumabas. Yung from the easiest to the most difficult actually. Hindi ko alam kung paano nila hinati yung questions, yung difficulty. The first one in educational technology or edtech. What is the last W in www. That's the easiest question. That would be web, right? And worldwide, world. Okay. Basta yun, yung last W ng www. What else? What graphic organizer would you use when you compare and contrast? Venn diagram, bar graph, circle graph, or pie graph, ganon. So, yun yung mga easy questions na naalala ko. And yung meaning yung meaning ng PRC itself. Professional, regulatory commission. Be careful with that one. Yung answer naman yun nasa mismong paper nyo. Yung PRC. What else? It's more, sa Gen Ed, I remembered more on English language. There is a sentence there. Then you're going to identify what kind of error in that sentence. Is it parallelism? What else? Redundancy? Missing something like that. Yun nung naalala ko. What else? Actually, there are a lot. Nagpa-flood lang sa sa utak ko. What else? Situational analysis in professional education. And if you're major in special education, don't focus on your major. 1 to 2 questions ang lalabas dyan. More on prof ed or ed tech. The theories like pragmatic. Are you a pragmatic teacher? Exploratory teacher? What else? Those kinds of questions. And I also heard that one of the questions in the PASLET exams was, ano ang pangalan ng aso ni Rizal? Like that. I remember lumabas talaga daw siya sa let. And I forgot. It's on the tip of my tongue. Ano ang pangalan ng aso ni Rizal? It's very random. It's very umbrella. Lahat ng pinagkukuhanan nila ng question. From 2012 and then 2018. Ganyan kinukuha nila. So, what else? Hindi lang talagang naalala kong question. Marami siya actually, but
Let's go. Thanks, Coach
To
Grace.
to answer the question of Grace kanina, Braganza Usman. Braganza, actually, yung most of the books nilalagay yung pangalan ng aso ni Jose Rizal. So, I just want to delve in there. Siguro more on ganun ka-trivial yung lumalabas si Gen Ed. As in, nung time ko, wala masyadong trivia question. Siguro, medyo madali. Kasi nung time na nag-take ako 2016, fresh pa na kaka-elect lang ni President Duterte, lumabas yon. Sino ang kauna-unahang presidente na nanggaling sa Mindanao? So, siya, President Rodrigo Duterte. In the Gen Ed, nung time ko din, sobrang daming lumabas, like 5 same questions in the Gen Ed about nang, na, at G. Yung mga pang-angkop. Paulit-ulit yon. Even sa Filipino majorship, lumabas din yung questions na yon. May ibang ganon din na situation na from a pool of majorship questions, they get some na general yung pwede siyang ma-apply din sa Gen Ed questions, no? Sige, pagbibigyan ko kayo ng, sabi ko nga sa iyo, Carlo, pulling out the file. So, some of the questions that na nire-review ko din to sa mga clients ko before, and Grace was telling a while ago about the theories. Thing is, nagbabago na yung trend sa exam taking. In the early 2010, 11, 2012, 2013, if you'll review the materials, nandyan yung definition type. What is pragmatism, idealism, realism, something like that. Mga ism na yan. Ang dami talaga. But in the recent let, the trend is, hindi na siya definition type. Tama si Grace kanina, situation analysis. It's context-based. So meaning, magbibigay ng situation sa classroom, and then the students should align it sa specific theory. So, suki dyan si Brunner, si Piaget, yan. Hindi na siya diretso doon sa theory, but it's more on ano yung application ng particular theory na yun sa classroom. So, I'll give you an example question. So, medyo mahaba. So, this is a real example with repetitive story of a particular teacher. Her name is Mrs. Coneta. I'll read the whole story, the whole question. Mrs. Coneta developed a lesson on the concept of fraction this way. First, she presented one whole pizza, then asked a pupil to cut into two. She called one part of pizza one half and the two parts two half. Then she wrote one half and two half on the board. She proceeded to ask another pupil to divide the half parts of the cake into two again, then wrote 1/4, 2/4, and 3/4. Then used the model of fractions, wooden circles divided into 2, 3, 4, and showed one half, 1/4, 1/3, and 2/4. Then she went back to the fractions she wrote on the board. She asked her pupils for the meaning of one half, 1/3, 1/4, and 2/4. The question is, which part of the lesson is the symbolic stage? So, ganon, hindi na niya tinatanong ano yung theory behind that. So, more on symbolic stage, no? Symbolic stage, isipin nyo, what are we encountering sa symbolic stage? So, this is the stage of the Brunerian theory wherein the learners are learning like how to translate the concrete ideas of something abstract. So, more on like, for example, numbers. So, di ba pag nagtuturo tayo sa mga bata, yung numbers naman, like, this is number one. We don't say that. But we use concrete objects first. So, from concrete to something pictorial, using visuals, and the last stage is symbolic. So, the answer or the choices that was given about this question, A, dividing the pizza further into 4, B, dividing the pizza into 2, C, writing the fractions 1/2, 1/4, 1/3, 2/4 on the board, or letter D, using the model of fractions. So, the answer here is, ano po sa tingin ninyo? Yung mga nandito, yung mga kasamahan ko. Talagang tines ko kayo, di ba? So, it's letter C, because writing elements are considered symbols. No? The letters A, B, D are in the concrete stage since they're using manipulatives to explain a particular concept. No? Yun, isa yun sa mga example questions. Gusto kong bigyang pansin siguro yung sinabi ni by the way, this is part of the foundations of teaching na part ng LET. Next question siguro, ito. For mastery and meaningful learning, keyword is mastery and meaningful learning. Which teaching methodology is not encouraged? A, apprenticeship, B, decontextualized teaching, C, authentic problem solving, or D, incidental learning. Challenge natin sarili natin. Try natin. Sige. Sinong gustong sumagot? Coach Jem? Wow, talagang nagtatawag ako.
I think mastery, di ba? So I think it's
Yeah.
the incidental learning.
Which is not teach, yung hindi. Ulitin ko yung choices ha. So apprenticeship,
Mali pa.
decontextualized teaching. Tinutulungan kita, don't worry. Authentic problem solving or incidental learning.
Sure. Ano yung D? Yung last?
It's incidental learning.
Yun, I think that's the best answer.
Actually, the word is keyword to, decontextualized teaching. So, wala sa konteksto ng mga learners kasi.
So, diba, ang tagal ko na
Those are some of my questions in my bank. How about the other teachers? Baka may list kayo.
Go, Coach Jem. For me, I would just add on the like tips and tricks on how you would answer the questions, just like what Coach Kurt have stated. So underline the keywords, yung ano talagang hinahanap ng question, and then filter the answers. Okay, so some answers would be the synonymous to the question itself, or the answers A, B, C, and D, there is the umbrella term na makukuha niya yung A, B, and then C, and then yung D, yun yung may iwan, yun yung correct answer. So, strategize on how you would answer the LET exam. For example, yes, it should be helpful when you are well versed in reading or comprehension, understanding the question, then strategize, underline the keywords na nasa question, then look what is or not synonymous dun sa answers. So may umbrella term yan, then filter all the other the other answers. So that's one of the things that you should take note when you answer the let.
Ang ganda
Oh,
na sinabi ni Coach Chris din talaga. Like, some of the items are actually predictable because
Mm-mm.
hahanapin mo lang talaga yung mga keywords, lalo na sa Prof Ed. Unlike si Gen Ed kasi siguro, more on stock knowledge, depende yan sa dami ng nabasa mo rin. And also, I think, wordplay, like yung paano nila ginamit yung word sa particular sentence, no? Siguro, Coach Carlo, last one na lang. This item actually was showed in the 2015 LET. So, let's try to, last one para ano. Ito yung sinasabi kanina ni Coach Grace about sa ism. So, teacher January, a Christian living teacher, put so much significance on values, development, and discipline. What could be her educational philosophy? A. Idealism. B. Pragmatism. C. Progressivism. D. Realism. So the keyword here is, I think, put so much significance on values, development, and discipline. So one good test-taking tip din siguro na pwede sa let is yung cancellation of options, no? So I think not progressivism and not realism as well. Do you agree with me, coaches? Yes, so yun yung una kong tatanggalin din na dalawa. So it's between idealism and pragmatism. But the keyword here is more on values development and discipline. So I guess the correct answer here is pragmatism. How about you, Coach Jem?
Favorite mo talaga ako.
Hindi, syempre tatlo
Same.
lang naman tayo. Same,
Same,
yeah.
same.
So, ganon. Mga ganong mga techniques. Cancellation of options. Natatanggal ka na dalawa agad. Although, merong items na multi-level. Like, magbibigay sila ng 4 na statements. Tapos, alin sa statements na yun yung pinaka-correct? Or ano yung, ano dun yung sa tatlo yung correct? Yung isa doon, hindi. So, parang napaka-tricky, hindi katulad ng elementary or high school tayo, no? Pag favorite natin yung mga none of the above, all of the above, pero actually nga, naalala ko in college, using the option all of the above and none of the above without any reason, like, it's not advisable in test making naman din. So, may mga lumalabas na ganun pa rin sa let. Pero, thing is, parang hindi siya, usually yung sinasabi ko sa students ko, hindi siya yung right option. So you really have to read all the statements first before you answer the none of the above and all of the above.
thank you, Coach Kurt. See, explorers, maraming stock knowledge ang ating mga coaches. So keep on asking your questions sa inyong mga kada groups. So before we end, may mga tanong sa chat box, sa comment box na nais kong itanong sa ating mga coaches. So I think we touched on this earlier tungkol sa new normal. So tanong ni Chelsea G, how about the new normal? How about the new normal ways of exams? I heard it on the news na online na raw ang exams. Isn't there ways to cheat? Meron na po bang mga application or strict protocols on this? Have you guys heard anything around this area?
I think hindi explain ko kanina, no, Carlo, na hindi pa kasi talaga maliwanag. Although PRC has plans about it, but let's just wait for the IRR and how they will implement it. Kasi actually, the big issue there is more on the veracity and the certainty of their answers, whether it came from them or they research about it. So, and also equity, not equality, equity for especially for those who are in far-flung areas. Paano nga naman yun, yung connection nila, lalo yung mga mahihina yung connection, will they consider an online exam or an offline version of the exam? Mga ganung mga bagay. But I believe dun sa nagtanong, for sure PRC will soon publish their IRR and note whether tuloy pa rin yung mga exams this year at kung paano ito.
Maraming salamat, Coach Kurt. Nasa end na tayo ng ating webinar. So I guess isang maiksing tanong lang po. Ano po ang inyong one last message or like short piece of advice for our soon-to-be teachers regarding sa LET po? Para sa lahat ng coaches. Start tayo kay Coach Grace.
Okay, so for me, for those who are going to take the LET exam, especially in this time of pandemic, so I interviewed my ate or alumni sa university namin, St. Louis University. Hi, Ate Heather. So, from her also, we have the same opinion about it. It's not really acing the let, but preparing yourself for the let and like maintaining yourself, your mental health and everything because this could really your readiness could really affect on how on the behavior, okay, and how you would take the let you should be, or rather calm yourself and ask yourself if you're really ready to take the let. Maybe you will be ready after this pandemic, or when it's already cleared, like hindi na masyadong mabigat yung pakiramdam ng paligid and yourself too. You have consulted yourself that I am ready to take the let because the motivation comes from me, not from other people, not because you are pressured to do it. It's more on about you. So kindly clear your minds and your thoughts for that. And also, when you take the let, yes, calm yourself. What else? Be prepared. Of course, we don't know when the PRC would release the announcement for the let exam. So just prepare for that. And when you review, you should be happy. And yung inner motivation mo, that drive should be there. Yes. What else? I think that's it. And also the tips and tricks that you hear from other people or from us coaches and these experienced coaches that we have here. Okay, so apply the ones that really works best for you, because at the end of the day, we all have our different fights, our different philosophies in life. It's more on you. Reflect more on yourself when you will take the lesson. I think that's all.
Thank you, Coach Grace. Coach Jem, one piece of advice for soon-to-be teachers.
Well, for one, you know yourself better than anyone else. So if you think you need to take the review centers, take it. If you are confident to have self-review, then go for it, diba? So I think acing the let is just the same as passing it eh. So parang if you parang it is not for you to get the top notch position or what, kasi parang kung sa tingin mo sa sarili mo na you can do it and you pass it, you ace it at the same time. Kasi 'di ba it's a matter of parang the battle is between you and your ano lang, yourself lang, 'di ba? It's not a battle between you and the other left takers. So yung kung nag-top ka, edi that's another blessing, 'di ba? So that's what I can say, 'di ba? So what else? I think rest, then take rest and review whenever you think best fit it. Parang mag-review ka kung kailan mo sa tingin kayang mag-review and all. Wag yung don't pressure, parang ganun. And take the let whenever you are ready. Kasi when you're not ready, you will not face it. That's it.
Thank you, Coach Jem. Last but not the least, Coach Kurt.
So my final line, I'll use the imagery of a sentence in a paragraph, I guess. So taking the let is not a sentence of your life, like a real sentence of your life. Your life doesn't end there whether you pass or you fail, because or you even top it. Like it doesn't dictate the whole thing. Like it's only maybe an extra merit for you. Like if you really want to go to a public school, or if your school will require you the licensure exam, extra lang yun. Another point is siguro, taking the let is a sentence in a paragraph of your life. Take it like that, because it can actually not make or break you at some point. Like for example, if you fail it, you have like multiple times to retake it. And it's all about you. It's all about the story of your life. Writing it or taking it, the let, is all about knowing yourself. Ano ba yung strengths ko at ano yung mga weaknesses ko na kaya ko pang palakasin. And at the same time, you also need some punctuations. You are also a comma. You pause for a while if you need to rest. And at the end of the day, when you go to when you take the let, there's a period. Matatapos din ito. At pero magpapatuloy pa rin yung pagsulat ng sentence ng buhay mo.
Maraming salamat, Coach Kurt. At nasa dulo na po tayo ng ating program. Para sa ating mga explorers, ihahanda ko lang po yung scavenger hunt for the day. Kung makikita ko siya quickly. Sandali lang po. May technical difficulties. Nasaan siya napunta?
Coach Carlo, nagpapa-shoutout yung Kada Marangal. So,
Sige, go Coach. Kaya mo yan.
ayun, shoutout lang sa Kada Marangal. Hello.
Sa iba nating coaches, may magpapa-shoutout pa ba?
Shout out to my Kada Maparaan. Last night we just had our Kada call. Sobrang excited ako for them and for all the explorers ng Career X. Hello to everyone.
Coach Grace.
Hi, kada mautak and kada masigla. Okay, to kada.
Shout out sa inyong lahat. At sa ating mga explorers, ating scavenger picture for the day ay nasa aking kanan. Depende sa mirroring ng ating video. At yun na nga, dito na po tayo magtatapos. Maraming salamat sa ating mga viewers. Maraming salamat sa ating coaches, Coach Grace, Coach Jem, and Coach Kurt. Hopefully, may natutunan tayo sa araw na ito. Maraming salamat. Paalam.
Thank you so much, coaches. Thank you po.